Whether so speaking of prayer, we're gonna do a prayer in a moment. So maybe you have no prayer practice in your life, maybe you do. And there's no judgment about whether that's good or bad or what, but this different from my experience growing up with prayer is this quote I'm going to read to you from Thich Nhat Hanh. So I think most of you know he is a Buddhist monk that died last year. He died in January, but I can't remember. So like a year and a half ago. Um, so this is a quote from him about prayer. If you are standing on one shore and want to cross over to the other shore, you have to use a boat or swim across. You cannot just pray, "Oh, other shore, please come over here for me to step across." To a Buddhist, prayer without also practicing is not real prayer. In a real prayer, you ask only for the things you really need, things that are necessary for your well-being, such as peace, solidity, and freedom. Freedom from anger, fear, and craving. Happiness and well-being are not possible without peace, solidity, and freedom. Most of our desires are not for our peace, solidity, and freedom. While you pray, you are deeply aware of what you really need and what is just the object of your desire. This kind of prayer is the light of God that shines upon you, telling you which way to go in order to obtain peace, solidity, and freedom. In a real prayer, you can also touch the wholesome seeds in your consciousness and water them. I love that part. You can touch the wholesome seeds in your consciousness and water them. These are the seeds of compassion, love, and understanding, forgiveness, and joy. If while praying you can recognize these seeds in you and help them grow, your prayer is already a deep practice. So to me, that's kind of the sense of letting your prayers be an attunement into all of our best qualities, right? It doesn't have to be even about something specific, but it could be just touching into a sense of compassion or love, understanding, joy, freedom, peace, all these things. So here is a Buddhist prayer for us to contemplate. So let's go ahead and sit up straight and tall and come into a state of groundedness. Find your breath. Feel the sense of coming home into the here and now and into your body. Maybe close your eyes if that helps you. This is called the 9 prayers. May I be peaceful, happy, and light in body and spirit. I'm going to repeat each part twice. May I be peaceful, happy, and light in body and spirit. May I be free from injury. May I live in safety. May I be free from injury. May I live in safety. May I be free from disturbance, fear, anxiety, and worry. May I be free from disturbance, fear, anxiety, and worry. May I learn to look at myself with the eyes of understanding and love. May I learn to look at myself with the eyes of understanding and love. May I be able to recognize and touch the seeds of joy and happiness in myself. May I be able to recognize and touch the seeds of joy and happiness in myself. May I learn to identify and see the sources of anger, craving, and delusion in myself. May I learn to identify and see the sources of anger, craving, and delusion in myself. May I know how to nourish the seeds of joy in myself every day. May I know how to nourish the seeds of joy in myself every day. May I be able to live fresh, solid, and free. May I be able to live fresh, solid, and free. May I be free from attachment and aversion, but not be indifferent. May I be free from attachment and aversion, but not be indifferent. So notice these are all prayers for ourselves. They're not prayers for others. They're not prayers of penance. They're prayers of cultivating what is best within us. And in that way, we can shine the light for and with others. So it's never wrong to offer a prayer for self. But think about what those prayers do. These are not, I need, to cross to the other side of the ocean or river. It's cultivating the most important things within us. Okay, so think about one that stood out to you, one of the 9 prayers. And see if you can, as we bring our hands together in an intention for the day, see if you can remember whatever that bit of the prayer was and have a commitment to cultivating this within you. Release your hands and let's find our way onto our back. All right, so I had a yoga teacher once long ago tell me that the poses are prayers. So what does that mean? When we come into presence in our practice, we are more easily able to touch from the here and now into those seeds that we're trying to cultivate. When we live in our bodies, when we live in our breath, and when we live in this moment, that is a prayer in and of itself. If we think of prayer as cultivating these attributes. Okay, so let your practice be your prayer. All right, stretch your arms overhead and feel the reach of one side, the reach of the other side. Feeling that opening in the body. Let's have gratitude. Let's kind of wrap all of those 9 prayers up in some gratitude. Gratitude for the movement that's capable in our body right now. Let's bring our knees into our chest and rock a little bit, sway from side to side. Moving from that little bit of a slosh bucket, letting the fluidity of your body rock from one side to the other. All right, hang on to the knees. Let's circle, rolling the knees in one direction. Rolling the knees in another direction. Breathing well. Let's open the knees away from each other and toward each other, finding that sense of enjoyment. What does your hips feel like? Does it feel good to cultivate a little freedom and solidity in your body? All right, so right knee into your chest, left leg long on the ground, and feel free to wiggle your toes and roll around in your ankles. Enjoy that sense of freedom. Feel a good squeeze of the knee, hug it on in. And then let's switch sides. Left knee hugging into your chest, right leg is long on the ground. And feel free to move about again, your ankles, your toes. A good hug in. Feel that compression.
Release that. Stretch your limbs out there like a star. Reach into the edges of your body. Exhale. Draw your knees into your chest and pick up your head. Again, opening up, spreading your wings. Exhale. Drawing the knees in and the head comes up. Okay, relax your feet onto the ground, grab a strap. Hopefully you have one. If not, you can always do this by interlacing your hands behind your hamstring. Wrap the strap around your foot, right foot. Left foot can be on the ground, or you can stretch your left leg straight on the ground. So your choice of how you arrange your body in this posture. Reach up with your foot into the strap, press into the strap. And at the same time, root your femur bone down to the ground. Find those two opposing directions. Open up the back of your leg. And one of the beautiful things about Supta Padangusthasana, this posture, is that we have this length in our spine and elbow. Because we're flat on the ground, we have feedback from the ground to tell us what our spine is doing. So can you feel a little gap in the small of your back? Can you feel your crown and tail lengthened away from each other? Is there a sense of ease in your shoulders and your skull resting on the ground? So enjoy all the length of this posture. It's such a great way to forward fold, as our back stays in a nice, neutral, elongated, extended place. Let's open the right leg out to the right. Feel the strap just in your right hand now. Round into the left side of your body. So stay rooted, supported, solid. Feel that sense of opening in the right inner thighs, the inner groin. Again, rest the heaviness of your head down. Try not to compensate with your neck and shoulders and head in this pose. Okay, let's lift that leg straight back up in the air. Take the strap into the left hand and cross the right leg over to the left. Of course, you can put the heel of your right hand in the hip crease right at the top of your thigh if you feel like you'd like that. Otherwise, your hand can just be resting on the ground. Feel into the angle of your leg here, your right leg. Are you turned up toward the sky? Can you have that neutral leg? So kneecap is facing, in the same direction as the wall behind your head. Spread your toes. And then lift that leg straight back up. Lower your leg down to the ground and feel the difference between the two sides of your body. So if our goal is to find a sense of freedom, solidity, and presence in our body, does your yoga practice offer you this? Let's go ahead and switch sides. Left foot in the strap, right leg, either foot on the ground or leg on the ground. Reach up and root down. Foot reaches into the strap and your femur bone drops down into the earth. Heavy head and shoulders. Feel that elongation of your spine. So nothing has to round or collapse in order for the hamstrings to open. Are you breathing well? Can you just enjoy this? Can you just enjoy the feeling of opening your body? Now let's take the strap into the left hand and open your leg out to the left. Round the right side of your body. Heavy head. Breathing well. And lift that leg straight back up in the air. Take the strap into the right hand. Cross the left leg over. Feel the left hand press that femur bone away if that feels good for your body. Again, taking notice of what your head, neck, and shoulders are doing. Can you relax as you move into the length of your legs? Stretch through the big toe and the inner heel. Feel your whole foot open up. Breathe well. Let's take the right foot now into the strap with the left. 2 feet up in the air. Feel the length of your spine. soften the shoulders away from the ears. Let's flex and point our toes while they're in the strap here. Open up the calves, open up the front of the feet. And let's take the strap off, hold your legs up there, start to invite some strength in your core. Either choose to put your arms down at your sides, out to the sides, or up overhead. Your choice of how you want to be. Stabilize the center of your body. All right, and then we're going to bend our knees, but keep our knees up there over our hips. We're going to do some belly turning pose. So drop the knees a little bit or a lot down toward the elbow, and then inhale and lift the knees back up. Over to the other side. So this pose could be just a couple of inches off the midline and back in, and try, do a few passes of different depths so you can feel the deep low core. Sometimes if you just bring your knees over a few inches and back to center, and then over to the other side, back to center, you wake up little different parts of your core than if you were bringing your knees all the way down to the ground where your elbows are. So try as you pass from left to right, a few different depths. Maybe only a little, maybe a little more, maybe all the way. Just find, do you have more tolerance and capability going one direction versus the other? Are you able to breathe through this? Belly turning pose, we're kind of waking up and churning our internal organs a bit. And then relax your feet down onto the ground. Find your breath, soften through your hip flexors. Let's lift up into bridge pose. Ground through your feet. If you want to come all the way up onto your tops of your shoulders, great. If this is a big pose for this beginning part of your practice, then just go as high as your body says. Ground into the four corners, open your chest. Stretch open through your hip flexors a little bit here. Breathing well. And then melt and relax your pelvis back down onto the ground. Knees come back up. Find a reverse tabletop here. Arms are coming straight up toward the sky over our shoulders. Our knees are over our hips. Now, if this is too much for your back, bring your knees a little closer toward your chest, then directly over your pelvis. We're going to do a little cross hemisphere work, so it might be a little confusing for your nervous system. Engage your core as you do this. We're going to drop your right heel or toe down as your left arm comes up overhead, and then come back to your tabletop and switch sides. Right heel or left heel or toes tap, right arm over your head, come back up. Okay, so just go back and forth a few times. We're going to pick two flowers with one hand here. We're kind of training our nervous system at the same time as doing some core work. Right, so find your breath, stabilize your core to the ground, relax your head, try not to let your neck and shoulders do more work than is needed for you to move your arms. Find your breath. It's kind of like being in bird dog, but we're on the ground. All right, meet back up, and then bring your knees into your chest and just relax your back. Slosh bucket, roll side to side a little bit, just swing. Breathe deeply. And then let's come rolling over onto our side and come up onto your hands and your knees. All right, so find your way into some cat-cows. Enjoy. Now we get to move the spine. Everything so far that we've done, the spine has been stabilized on the ground. So now allow the movement to happen. You can go into a full rounding of the back, a full arching of the back. Pay attention to what the range of motion available to you is today. Try not to be in excess. See if you can live your poses in moderation. And that doesn't mean shying away from the edges of your full movement. It just means staying coloring in the lines. We don't want to go expanding beyond
what our body is able to do in any moment. So move around any way you want, wag your tail, circle, sway. There's no right way to move here. Let your body find its sense of freedom. To know that that piece of that prayer, that we're trying to cultivate a sense of solidity and freedom in ourselves. How many times have we thought about this in our yoga practice, where we're trying to balance effort and ease, trying to balance a sense of freedom and stability. And in this way, our bodies can become our prayers too. Our practice can become our prayers. All right, flat back. Let's inhale the right arm up in the air, feeling that open heart. Exhale and drop that shoulder down, coming into a twist. Feeling a sense of ease across your skull. And remember, we're coming into a place of acceptance of what we are capable of doing in this moment. So as you practice, if you come across poses that are either you can't do and you need to modify, or that are challenging to you, or you think, oh, I used to be able to do this perfectly and now I can't. That's part of our practice too, is to have grace, to surrender into what's available right now, to not, to shy away from attachment and aversion. Inhale, reach that arm back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground. Second side, arm up. Exhale and slide that arm underneath you. Twisting, letting the rib cage move, feeling the shoulders move away from the ears, finding that sense of freedom in the breath. Inhale, lift that arm back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground. Let's lift to dog pose. Feel the extension in your body. Now we get to come off the ground fully, so find the roots. Hands and feet are your roots. Sink them down and let the rest of your body grow and expand and lengthen. Heart to the hips, femur bones up and back. Melt your head. Feel the roots of your hands. Where is your weight going into your hands and in your feet? How is the fullness of your breath? Can you melt through your face? Okay, walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana. We're folding here. Let your hips sway, your shoulders, whatever feels good. Inhale for a halfway lift. Get your spine to grow. Exhale and melt. Let your head relax. Coming all the way up, rising, lifting your arms to the sky if it feels good. Open the heart here. Let's cactus open the shoulders and release the hands down. Swoop them up again. Big open chest. Cactus your arms and release your hands down. Third time, opening up. Feel the heart expand, lift to the sky, elbows down and wide, and release your hands. Give them a good shake and interlace your fingers, open the heart, and fold forward with your arms moving away from your back. You can kind of shift your arms over to one side, shift them over to the other side. Same thing with your hips. You kind of want to rock into one and then the other. Bobble your head and let it go. Release your hands down to the ground. A halfway lift here. Find your breath. Exhale. Surrender down. Let's step our left foot back. Right foot comes in front. Enjoy a lunge. Feel the heart open. Hands on blocks or the ground. Let's start to move. Bending and straightening the front knee. Let your head soften and melt. Let your knee bend and the heart stays open. Okay, so back and forth. Can your movement in your breath and in your body be the prayer of presence? Okay, so bring yourself into this moment. Try to just move away from the distractions of the mind. Be here now. Let's ground your legs, stay rooted. Inhale, come on up. Bring the arms
to the sky, find the breath. Open up through the heart. Breathing deeply. Let's cactus open the arms here and then bring your arms forward and kind of swoop them up. Find your breath. Down. Swoop. Lift that energy up toward the sky. One more time. Cactus the arms. Bring your hands down. Palms up. Find the breath. Look up if your body feels okay with that. And then hands come down, back foot comes forward, fold deeply, relax your neck. A halfway lift, spine is growing. Exhale, melt and fold again. Right foot comes back, left foot's in front, finding a lunge. Chest is open and free. Find your breath here. Start to move when you're ready. Straightening and bending the front knee. Feel that sense of melting your skull. Feeling your breath. Coming into the full range of motion you have here. Lunging, feel the grounding. When you're ready, come on up. And don't worry if you get a little wobbly, you can always bring your arms out to the side or lower your back knee down a little lower to the ground for some good stable support. Find your breath. Ground through that front foot. And let's come into that action of the shoulders. So chest open, cactus the arms, bring your hands down, palms up toward the sky, lift to the air above your head. Twice more, cactus. Bring that energetic experience of lifting and opening. One more time. Feel your breath. Pause here for a moment, find that crescent lunge, chest is open, feel your spine. And then the hands come down onto the ground, dog pose. A long, spacious body, you can take your feet wider, closer, hands wider, closer, what feels best. And let's come forward into a plank. Integrate and hold that sense of stability. Let's turn the navel over to the right. Face the ground with your chest and your head. Bring it back to center, over to the left. Finding those obliques, waking them up again like we did in the beginning. Back to center, one more time, over to the right. Wake up the center of your body, back to center, over to the left. Okay, come back to center. You can put your knees down to find the floor if your body needs that. Let's roll the shoulders, feel your neck, give a little space in there. Inhale, open to cobra pose, the chest is open and free. Relax and melt. Take variations that make your body feel good. Maybe a wide-legged or wide-armed cobra, maybe a sphinx pose. Stretch open. And then relax. Come up onto all fours. Move the spine about. And now, just like we did on the ground, we'll do it on all fours now. So right leg straight back behind you, left arm in front of you. Find the breath. Press your shin and your hand into the ground. Feel the engagement of front and back body. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, elbow and knee come under you. Inhale, bring it long. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale, bring it out. One more. Press that shin into the ground. When you're done, place your hand and your knee down onto the ground. Shake out your wrist if you want to. Move your hips around. Let's change sides. Left leg is straight back behind you in the air, toes down, right arm in front, thumb up. Stabilize through the core. Press your shin and your hand into the ground. Feel the stability of back and front body. Deep breath in. Exhale, elbow and knee come underneath. Inhale, bring it out. Exhale, bring it in. One more. Reach out through the spine. Exhale. And then let's place our hand and knee down. Come back to child's pose. Stretch your arms overhead. Feel free to roll around in your wrists or rock your pelvis left and right. Breathing deeply. Come up to dog pose when you're ready. Spine gets long. Full breaths here. We're going to walk forward, but think about what foot do you always walk forward with. See if you can take the other foot forward first. Come to Uttanasana. When you're ready, come up to stand. Find your breath. Chair pose. We can do this with our legs touching. You can do this with your feet hip width apart. You can do a block between your thighs. So find the way that works for you. Draw your knees back into your hips. Maybe your arms extend upward. Maybe you're better with your hands somewhere else. Okay, so choose a pathway that works for you. Find your breath. We're going to twist to each side twice. So starting with the right, turning to the right. You can bring your arms out. If your arms are not doing this posture, then you can just turn your torso with your hands on your hips or your hands at prayer. Inhale, back up. Exhale to the other side. Keep breathing while you're here. Sometimes in these twisting postures, if your arms are out to the side, try turning your back arm, your thumb down. That internal rotation can help your shoulder in that position. Back up. Each side one more time. Find your breath. Squaring the hips to the front. Inhale, back up. Over to the other side. Knees and pelvis face the front of the mat. Both arms up, stand up onto your tippy toes. Find your breath. Start to feel into your balance on your toes. And then let your heels rest down. Pause here for a moment. Okay. We're going to take our right leg firm on the ground and lift our left knee up in the air. Roll around in your ankle if you feel like you need a little freedom in that foot. Arms can be down at your sides, out, together, up. Choose a pathway that fits this moment for you. You're standing light, thigh bone moves back. Try not to sink and press the hip forward. Find your breath. We're going to twist open here. So turning to the left. Right thigh bone back. Soften the knee. Lift the spine. Remember that feeling you had on the ground when you were lying on the ground and doing that hamstring stretch? We had this long, spacious spine. Find that here. Back up to center, foot down onto the ground. Bring your palms to your heart for a moment. Just breathe. When you get off center with balance poses, it's very easy to have a sense of disturbance and turbulence in the mind. Let's bring ourselves back to this place of peace. All right, so rooting into the left leg. So a lot of times, if you look at me for a moment, a lot of times when we come up into a pose like this, we press our hip forward and we get our spine to go back. Draw your thigh bone back so that you have this sense of being on that long line. It makes it more challenging for sure, the balance, but it will be much more supportive for your back. Engage your core. Okay? Soften your knee that you're standing on. Keep the hip hugged in instead of sinking out to the side. Hip in, thigh bone back, knee soft, core engaged.
Arms go where you want them. Find your breath. When you're ready, twist right. And you still feel the deep low core supporting that leg in the air. Breathe well. Long spine. Press into your foot to rise through your crown. Come back up. Foot down onto the ground. Take your legs wide on your mat. So turn sideways so you have a long width of your mat. And take your hands down onto the ground or onto blocks. All right, so lift your femur bones up and back. And enjoy your head and torso coming lower toward the ground. So feel, it's kind of just the opposite of a balance pose, right? We have this wide base. We have 4 points of contact, feet and hands. Our head is low. We feel the ground. So enjoy all that. Toe your feet in. And we're going to come back up to stand. Back to this sense, we're going to grab a strap. Okay, so similar to the pose we started with, Supta Padangusthasana. Now we're just going to do Padangusthasana. Supta means supine, so we do it lying down on the ground. Now we're going to do it standing up. So we're going to, excuse me, I have a knot in my strap. We're going to do this in 3 different positions, just like we did on the floor. For some people, putting a loop into the strap and having that loop around the foot is a good thing. For others, just having 2 hands on the strap is a good thing. So here, I'll just keep this looped. It's kind of knotted, so hopefully it'll work. All right, so we're going to start on our right foot. We're going to take the strap around our left foot. Okay, same things apply with all these balance poses. Focus your attention softly. Let your eye gaze, your drishti, find a place with ease. Try not to harden yourself. Free yourself from the sense of attachment or aversion. Okay, but not indifference. Can you do both? All right, so our hip is not sticking out. We're hugging the hip in. The thigh bones moving back. Unlock your knee. Feel the length of your crown, just like when we were on the ground. When you're ready, lift that leg in the strap in the air. Now you can hold on to a wall if your balance needs that support. Lengthen through your body. It doesn't matter, your leg could be much lower. It doesn't have to be super high, just be where you are. Feel the drishti, feel the spine grow, feel your breath. We're going to open that leg out to the side. Again, trying to keep the hip in instead of sinking. Soften the knee you're standing on. Reach through the crown. Find your breath. And then we're going to bring that leg back. Change the cross of your hand on your strap. So now we're holding the strap with our left hand. And we're going to twist open to the right. Left thigh bone back, hip in, breathe well. Twisting. Okay. Then come back to center and put that right foot down on the ground. Now that's a lot for your standing leg to hold you for 3 postures. Of course, if you need some support, get close to a wall or a piece of furniture, not just for balance, but also to give you support for your hips, because it's a challenging pose for your hips. All right, so find Samastitihi for a moment. Palms come together. Feet can go a little wider apart between sides, so we just get that feeling of grounding. Find your breath. Matter of fact, let's come into a squat. Take your feet a little wider than your hips. Come down. Elbows inside your knees, long spine. Come back up. Take your feet closer, but now they're hip width apart. Come down like a chair. Hands on the outsides of your knees. Press hands and knees into each other. Round the big toe and inner helix. All right, so feel some of those intrinsic stabilizers in your hips. Relax. Inhale, rise all the way back up. Arms to the sky. Raise down to the midline, Samasthiti. We're gonna stand on your right foot now. If you did the left before, if you did the right before, stand on your, opposite foot, so you might be different from me. Okay, so right foot is rooting, okay? When we lift the left foot up and put in the strap, doesn't matter how high up your leg goes, you can lower it, especially if you feel like when you lift it, your hip goes too. So we want the hips to stay in a neutral place, hold a wall if you need it. Try not to press the pelvis forward. Take the thigh bone back, lift the crown. Breathe well. Imagine an anchor hanging off your left sit bone. Now open up to the side. Okay. We're going to take the leg out to the side. Your other arm can spread out in space to give you some support. You can hold a piece of furniture or a wall if need be. Lift up through your spine. Find your breath. Hug the hip in. Try not to sink it out. Hug it in. Breathing well. And then come back to center. That leg is straight out in front of you. Take the strap in the right hand. Twist to the left. Hip down, crown high. Breath full. Let your right hip move in and back. Soften your knee. Spread out both feet. Keep rising. Keep breathing. Come back to center. Take that foot out of the strap, foot on the ground. Come to the front of your mat. Inhale, arms to the sky, open chest. Exhale, bend your knees and fold forward. Enjoy being close to the ground with your head. Inhale for a halfway lift. Melt and fold. Step back, whatever foot you want. Come back to a dog pose. A long, spacious spine here. Breathe well. Come forward into a plank. Nice and steady. Let's put your knees down if you need that. Find the ground. Curl your toes under. Lift your legs up and take them wide on the mat. First, just lift your legs, hands underneath your forehead. Engage both sides of the outer hips together. Breathing well. Exhale and release that, let it go. Now we'll lift up into a full super person pose. Take your arms down at your sides, out to the sides, or over your head, your choice. Lift everything up. Find your breath. Feel your diaphragm. Keep the back of the neck long. Shoulders away from the ears. Exhale and relax. Find your breath again. Let's take our left knee high up toward your armpit. Let your hip relax here. Forearms on the ground, low torso. Cross the right arm over to the left, twist open. Breathing deeply, let your body experience the twist. Come back round. Switch sides. Other knee up high toward your armpit. Forearms stay low. Chest stays low. Enjoy the compression in the hip. Let's turn it into a twist when you're ready. Cross the left arm to the right side of the mat. Twist open. Breathing well here. Enjoy the feeling of this pose. And come back around again. Come up onto all fours and move the spine about. We're going to come into pigeon pose. So take whatever support you need. Of course, reverse pigeon pose or lying on your back and crossing one thigh over the other thigh and bringing your knees to your chest. However, you want to stretch those outer hips. Right leg first. If you're coming into pigeon pose, have a block handy for underneath your skull when you come down. Long spine, so find the balance of your pelvis. Square hips. Adjust anything so that your knee is in a happy place. And then lengthen your head down. So for some of us, our heel is very close to our pubic bone, and that's what feels good in our joint spaces. For others, the heel kind of pulls out away from the pubic bone, and the right knee goes further out to the right. So just find whatever balanced place is right for your body. Check in with your ankle, your knee, your hip, your SI joint, even your pubic symphysis and your low back. There's so much that can happen in so many different joints in this pose. So you want to make sure that everything in your body is in a stable place. Okay, so we want that sturdiness so that freedom comes from a grounded place. So how do you find freedom in this pose? Melt within your breath. Let your forehead rest on something so you get the cue of ease. Keep the spine spacious as you breathe. And back up when you're ready. Change sides. You might do a totally different pose. It might be that one side you can do pigeon pose and another side you need to be on your back. So it doesn't matter. Find the pathway in your body. So now our left leg is doing the posture. So either left leg in front or put your left foot on your right knee or cross your left thigh over your right thigh and feel the extension in your spine. As your head rests on either the block or the back of your head on the ground, if you're on your back, see if you can let that cue of the head resting, the skull and the brain resting, give that cue to your nervous system that everywhere else can follow suit. We can have this sense of space and length, a fullness of breath. Let the hips square. Follow the posture when your body feels ready. Maybe you're like, "Ooh, but this feels so good. I want to stay." And by all means, stay. You are ready to come out. Let's come on to our back. Okay. So preparing for Shavasana for you, that might mean something different than for anybody else. So choose poses that make you feel good. It could be a twist. It could be knees to chest and a little bit of rocking. It could be a happy baby pose. So find what works in your body. What is the pathway needed right now to find full release? Let's take your time. Do a couple of things. Let yourself breathe. So oftentimes when we know Shavasana is coming, we kind of like skip right through these last couple of poses instead of giving them full attention that we might a different pose. So remember, each pose is a prayer. What are you offering? What are you receiving in this pose?
So let's find Shavasana as you're ready. There's no rush. As you come to rest, remember that this pose is very important. So make yourself comfortable. Make sure you have the support you need. Once you are in a comfortable position, consciously let the weight of your body drop. Imagine that each of your bones are made of something very heavy. So we're not bird weight bones, but we're, heavy, heavy bones. Rest the head, like the weight of your skull finds the depth of the bottom of the sea floor. So sink all the way down. Fill yourself with breath. Heavy arms, shoulders, hands. Heavy spine, shoulder blades, ribs, collarbones, bones. Heavy pelvis. Heavy thighs, shins, feet. As the bones get heavy, the breath becomes light. You feel both a sense of solidity, freedom, body. In to deepen your breathing.
Feel the weight of your bones again. Eventually find your way into some movement. Coming on to your side. Up to sit. Read the prayer one more time. This is a Buddhist prayer called the 9 Prayers. May I be peaceful, happy, and light in body and spirit. May I be free from injury. May I live in safety. May I be free from disturbance, fear, anxiety, and worry. May I learn to look at myself with the eyes of understanding and love. May I be able to recognize and touch the seeds of joy and happiness in myself. May I learn to identify and see the sources of anger, craving, and delusion in myself. May I know how to nourish the seeds of joy in myself every day. May I be able to live fresh, solid, and free. May I be free from attachment and aversion, but not be indifferent. Let's see if we can bring our hands together, and if we cultivate all these things, even a little bit, plant these seeds, welcome this energy within us, we can offer this outward. We can be the gift for others. We can offer. So send your energy now to another. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.